Ladies and gentle nerds, welcome back here to the qualification match we have coming up between Crescendo and apparently, as chat is telling me, it's Nihili. My name is Solid Jake, joined here with Lord Dunkus, and yes, I am literally on his t-shirt right now. Thank you.
Is the webcam actually messed up, or is that just my view on Skype?
Oh, because Dream dropped out of the Skype call.
GG. Ruining production all day.
Wait, do I have the technology to fix this? Well, of course I do.
Do we have the power?
It's like, can I do it quickly?
Ooh, I am just a microphone. Woohoo!
Production. All thwarted by iDream. iDream throws games and productions. What a guy.
Nice. All right.
Good enough.
Hopefully this lobby will be getting set up any second now, guys. The brackets, we can give you an update. So Crescendo is playing against Fox Nihili, something like that.
Let's go
and
with that
then,
one.
Yeah, on the other side of the bracket, Peter Dinklage versus High Score Hots. So we had mentioned these earlier. Peter Dinklage is Wilted, Goku, Insomnia, Collusion, Oculus. And then High Score Hots is the Faye, Iacona, Jason, McIntyre, Sray lineup. So
many new rosters, man. It's like gonna be chaos.
Yeah.
Like at the end of all of this season, I mean, I'm sure I'll have a grasp of it, but it's a bit chaotic right now.
it is. It's difficult to keep track of who ended up with who else on their team, especially with all the names being different. Like none of them same names. It's kind of weird, but you know, High Score Hots definitely looking to be a strong roster. I mean, Faye, Iacona, McIntyre, Stray, all very good players we've seen a lot in the competitive scene. Jason, we've seen around a lot in the amateur scene for sure. Definitely also in Hero League, stuff like that. So he
he's
could be
been
a
around.
solid pickup. Yeah, absolutely. And then, you know, on the other team that's basically playing them for the spot right now in the regional, Goku, Insomnia, Collusion, Oculus, Wilted. We've seen all of these people. So it's actually really cool to see new teams kind of succeed, make it at least to this round of 4, and hopefully, you know, the teams that made it this far today are rewarded in the coming weeks. What's up?
I've got a big question for you, though, and I need an answer pronto. We have a team named Peter Dinklage, and in the event Peter Dinklage qualifies, do you think they would be able to play under the name Peter Dinklage? And if so, how good is their logo going to be?
Will they be allowed to play under that name?
Probably not, but maybe.
I don't think so. Like,
Why isn't Peter Dinklage fighting Matt Damon right now? That's what I want to cast.
Was Matt Damon one of the names of the teams?
No, but it should be.
Oh, yeah, true. All the teams should just name themselves celebrity names, and then you could just like have Here's the Storm qualifier.
So we start using the hashtags like Peter Dinklage and like Britney Spears, and like it just gives us tons of new viewership. Like this is how we're gonna bring back the rise of monstrous viewership for Heroes, just by using celebrity names as teams.
We figured it out, Jake. We saved it. We did it. We fixed NA. Everyone just needs to get ridiculous names that we can get reach on social media from using.
Well, we are waiting for the lobby, as you mentioned. Shouldn't be too far away, because I see the bracket has been updated on the ESL website, which is half the battle, getting all of that officially pushed through and confirmed with the admins, and then they give the next match the go-ahead. Generally speaking, once all of that is said and done, the teams will do the map vetoes on their own. They will then create the lobby inviting us with the map that we're starting on, and then from there, they do the hero draft, and it's glorious.
For a caster, you sure know how all this works, Jake. Are you secretly moonlighting with one of the teams? Who are you playing with, huh?
I've only been doing this for 2 years, Dunk Train. If I don't know the other side of things, there's a problem.
You say so, buddy. I'm on to you. Keeping my eye out.
Yeah,
Every time Jake logs off, I'm going to see who logs on to Heroes. Try and catch your Smurf and catch you in the act.
I do have a Smurf that I play more than my main account nowadays.
Why?
Because I'm sneaky like that. I gotta stay in tune, but I don't want anyone to know who I am. And I want to be able to rage at people. That's the secret.
That makes perfect sense, Jake. That seems like you.
I want to spitball hard. I want to call someone. I want to call someone a piece of sand. I'm like, you're a piece of sand. That's how useful you are. That's the way I insult people, generally speaking. And thinking of sand, the sands of time with Nozdormu, the most delectable, fastest. You have to. My rule with this cup, with other beverages, is you have 15 seconds to finish a drink.
Okay.
But with water, that rule doesn't apply.
Oh, okay. Sounds fun.
But I love having guests accidentally grab that cup, not knowing the consequences of being the holder of the Nozdormu cup.
You need to like print out the Hearthstone text box for the Nozdormu card and like paste it to the bottom or something so they don't see it until, and then you point it out and it's like, oh, this cup has a rule, and then they're wrecked. Because if it's written on the cup, I mean, they can't disobey it, right?
That's true. This is a good idea. I need to like laminate it though, Dunction. That sounds like so much effort.
But it'll be worth to trap your friends.
You're right. In terms of this matchup, what are you expecting the meta to look like? I mean, obviously the Sonya ban globally for today's event due to her auto attacks having some issues in the current patch really shakes things up in terms of the hero priority, especially for melee.
Yeah, it really does. As far as this game goes, I mean, we've seen that Crescendo is comfortable drafting what I'll refer to basically as the Korean style, at least the Greymane Tassadar.
Mm-hmm.
They looked super comfortable on that, knew exactly what was going on in both those games, and looked absolutely brutal. So I expect that to be their go-to strategy. That's probably their primary strat. Happy to see that they played Asmodan. Maybe that means that they'll have more depth to their hero pool and strategy pool than the average team. But I expect this game to pretty much hinge on them doing the same things as before. Zeratul, Greymane, Tassadar are their three biggest priorities right now, I would say. Any other synergies or combinations they can get, they seem happy with, but just focus on the Greymane Tassadar synergy or the Zeratul for Glaurung, since that seems to be a surefire way for them to get wins at this level of play.
And I will be completely honest with you. I was talking with Caffeine, didn't listen to a word you said, but thank you for the great analysis, Dunk Train. We do have a lobby link. I just sent it to you as well. #production things. Crescendo versus Vox Nihili, as I'm going to pronounce it every time because reasons. I'll probably just call him VN.
VN?
Vocal
it's
nostrils. What would VN be an acronym for?
I mean, it doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound good. I mean, VN, I don't know. That sounds sketchy. That's not a very happy sounding
virtual ninjas.
Radiation FPO. Viral ninjas?
I'm not gonna say the next one that came to mind, but we're gonna go with that.
All right.
Visual novel, Miwa. Ooh.
Yeah, that's what it actually stands for, but I didn't want to. I mean, I have no idea what those are. Just casually.
I don't know what that is, honestly.
Sure you don't, Jake. Sure you don't.
Anyways, Tomb of the Spider Queen, our first map here. The draft has not yet begun, but VN has indeed readied up.
Also, for those of you wondering, according to Google Translate, Vox Nihili is the voice of terror.
Oh.
So.
Scary boys.
Yeah. But also the voice of nothing. So I don't know if Google Translate is right or wrong, because other websites are saying the voice of nothing. But either way, we'll just call them the voice. Then we can hashtag the voice and get even more Twitter following.
Yeah, let's do it. That's how it should be. Anyone asking the score, this is going to be game number 1. The match has not started yet. This is, again, a qualification match. It is a best of 3, not a best of 5. But they're fighting for a spot to play in the first regional happening in Burbank, California at the ESL studios here in America. So basically, if you win here, not only do you get a chance to compete, you guarantee yourself prizing. You also guarantee yourself a flight and the experience of playing in the event. So it's always a lot of fun. I had a monstrous time. I don't know if that even makes sense. I don't know if that's even a thing, but I had so much fun at the last qualifier happening or the last regional they did, where they had the live audience. They sold. I don't know if they're selling tickets for this one yet. I should actually confirm that before we do this again. I'll confirm it before Town Hall. Yeah, it was cool getting able to see some of the fans. I know seating is quite limited, so when tickets go on sale, you got to act quick if you want to attend it.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Jake. Looks like the draft has started.
Oops.
Crescendo did get first pick. It is on Tomb of the Spider Queen, and the draft started similarly to the last one, where we saw Zool and Kael'thas as first and second ban respectively. But Crescendo first picked Tassadar this time, whereas last time they first picked. Do you remember?
The first pick was no, it wasn't Vox.
No, against Murloc Genius is on Tomb of the Spider Queen.
I've got a terrible memory today. I'm so good at remembering everything that happens if I'm not doing the production and stuff, but I don't know.
Anyway, the Falstad, which is what Vox Nihili picked up anyway. So interesting to see that they chose for the Tassadar this time, despite the Falstad working out perfectly last game. And then maybe they're concerned they don't want to play against the Task Greymane. Maybe they felt that was too powerful. So they're not leaving that open. Give up the Falstad. Interesting. Vox Nihili does take the Rhaegar, though. Rhaegar Falstad. This leaves open Greymane to go with Tassadar for Crescendo. That's scary.
Yeah, it seems like a risky maneuver giving that up. And obviously, there's still a lot of flexibility. Crescendo has already shown they're willing to put K1 Pro or Glaurung on the Greymane, so there's no reason not to pick them up because they have tons of flexibility after that.
Yeah. They haven't highlighted it yet, though, which is surprising to me, honestly. I would have expected them to lock in the Greymane and avoid going to their time pool, since it seems like the obvious solution. I wonder if they have something else in mind. We saw them use an Azmodan strategy in the last game. It's possible they're looking to do the same thing and don't feel like Greymane really fits into that strategy. But we'll have to see what they end up locking in.
Yeah, they're giving it a lot of thought. 30 seconds left in their time pool. And Greymane makes a lot of sense, but what else would you think they could go for here? Obviously, Zool's been banned. We didn't see Sylvanas played a whole lot today. I think maybe once by, was it Murloc?
Ooh,
there was
I think
one
Sylph
game.
There was an Infernal Shrines game where someone had Sylv, right?
Yeah, that was the only Sylph game. She's in a decent spot.
Hasn't seen any draft priority though from
no.
Following Crescendo. I wonder if it's different anywhere else. Crescendo.
Okay, I mean,
in that Johanna after going through their whole time pool, that's interesting.
Would they really give up Greymane here?
I mean, it's possible that they plan to ban Greymane. But now they're highlighting the Li Ming.
They're trying to force a Azmodan ban. If they pick Li Ming, that's a comp with a ton of long range siege. They're going to be able to get the Asmo, which they just played. Vox has been done with their game for quite a while now, so they were definitely watching the last match, well aware of the Azmodan as a threat. The question is do they bite? Do they ban the Asmo? Because if Crescendo's blatantly just like, haha, Johanna, they're trying to choreograph that's something that they have on their table, but not necessarily what they want to do.
Yeah, this is interesting to me. I wouldn't expect the Johanna pick there and the Li Ming pick too. You're totally right. It seems like they're trying to bait Vox Nihili into doing something that they wouldn't normally do with this draft. The Greymane ban, despite having the next choice in picks, Vox Nihili ends up banning the Greymane. That's very interesting. Leaving open Azmodan, also letting Crescendo ban Anub'arak at no penalty. I think Greymane and Anub'arak were pretty much the clear next two picks for Vox Nihili in a standard game. So banning one out themselves and then having Anub'arak banned out by Crescendo, I think weakens their potential picks dramatically. Have to see what Crescendo had in mind to justify this early draft strat.
Looks like we got a bit of news. According to the chat, High Score has just qualified, so congratulations to High Score on making their spot into the first regional event alongside Naventic and Gale Force. These two teams will be the final match of the day, and it will also determine the fourth team to make their way into the regional. Sylvanas, we were talking about her. Vox picks her up.
Yeah, that's a good call, I think. Right now, they were a little bit light on wave clear, I would argue. And picking up the Sylvanas here leaves open room in their composition for another frontliner or another damage dealer. Plus, it handles the wave clear question, and it's just generally good on this map. So I think that's a strong pick, especially since we're kind of in the dark on what Crescendo actually plans to play here. Since the Azmodan could happen again. Oh, there's the Tracer. We were talking about that last time. The Tracer task got banned out by Murloc Geniuses the last time Crescendo had Tassadar. So interesting that even on Tomb of the Spider Queen, they're very willing to pick up that Tracer after the second ban phase. And now...
I just want to say, like, I'm really glad they didn't end up going the Azmodan composition, just because they don't have a bad comp for it. It's just, when you look at Sylvanas and, like, early game pressure, we saw the pressure that was able to be put on in the last series, and Sylv can basically triple that just because she shuts the towers off. So if they decide to just push hard with Sylvanas, it could make it so it's quite hard for the Azmodan to farm early. But final pick, Dunkus. What you feeling?
Vox Nihili. They need...
Is the young Illidan an option?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't really like playing Illidan into Tracer, but maybe it could work here. Crescendo has the Tracer, but I feel like they don't really have any other dive to follow up, so a backline hero should be safe. Azmodan, though, that's interesting. Didn't expect that from Vox Nihili. Okay.
No, they're not going to do it.
Switch it up to the Thrall.
And
I'm not sure I like that. I think that actually gives Crescendo a really good kill target now in the front line. Before, ETC was the only target they could really go for, and he's kind of hard to kill even with a Blessed Shield Li Ming combo. Whereas now Thrall is kind of going to have to dance around this front line, and if he ever gets hit by a Blessed Shield into Li Ming damage or Tracer, it's just going to blow him up. So I'm really concerned that Thrall might not be able to survive here on the front lines.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Thrall in general has seen quite a fall off as of the last several weeks. And he's been played, I think, a total of 1 time on the stream here today, where he didn't see a whole lot of success. But on this map, he's strong in the lane. He's strong in the rotations because he has the root, and of course Sundering, especially if you can find a team clumped up down one of those narrow hallways or around the coffers where you turn in the gems. Can have a profound impact, and the follow-up that they have with Gust for another form of control and Power Slide into Mosh Pit, even Wailing Arrow, they certainly do have the follow-ups for Sundering.
Yes, I absolutely agree. It could happen, but I think that would require Crescendo to make a pretty big mistake and clump up in one of those bad hallways you were talking about, and because of K1 and Glaurung both being players who really like to look at flanks, try and get side angles, you know, really are hyper mobile characters, I don't see them making that fundamental positioning mistake and getting clumped up for those big team fight heroics.
Well, we will have to find out to see what Vox Nihili can actually do versus Crescendo here in the qualification match in the first qualifier of 3 happening for the NA Regional #1 in the fall season of Heroes of the Storm.
Absolutely. So, getting into game here, we have Vox Nihili, the first time they've been on the stream, on the blue team. Goat on the Sylvanas, Daihu on that ETC, Lex Uther on the Rhaegar, Hosty on the Falstad, and Zeus rounding it out on that Thrall.
Their opponents on the red side, they are Crescendo, with Prismaticism playing the Tassadar. Glaurung going to be on Tracer, going the full-on wallet status with that skin. King Caffeine on Johanna APM, playing Karazim, and K1 Pro on Li Ming. Any interesting talents? Standard Thrall, Chain Lightning build for the sustain. It's going to be the Wolf's Run, level 1 for Rhaegar.
Yeah, everything pretty normal here. Knight takes pawn like you'd expect. Nobody really doing anything crazy. A lot of players don't opt for that Force Armor at level 1, but I know K1 on Li Ming picks that pretty much all the time, so no surprises there. Meanwhile, K1 being a little bit funny and putting some damage on that bottom tower, but it won't be too much. Meanwhile, both teams just clashing in the middle over that creep wave.
Yeah, I don't think K1's too worried about being in that fight. He knows everyone on his team is quite slippery in their own regards, so he can just get that small poke in. And all things considered, he got more than half that top tower, so it is a start, that's for sure. And that's exactly why you see Thrall rotating down there, to make sure you can have some presence in that lane.
Absolutely. Li Ming will have a tough time in that bottom lane, so Crescendo is going to have to do something to address that lane mismatch, or Thrall will eventually put damage on the buildings, but they have plenty of time right now. They're using Johanna to get an advantage in the speed of their 4-0 rotate. We'll have to see how they utilize that.
Well, yeah, so far so good. Glau on the Tracer. We saw him earlier today putting out over 80,000 damage in a relatively short game, sub 30 minutes, and that's some pretty high numbers. Obviously, they're going to be aware that they need to respond to that early in this game. Glau once again rotating down here with K1 Pro, trying to force Zeus back. If they can get some big damage done on Zeus, get Zeus behind the wall, that will enable K1 Pro and Li Ming to start to get that top tower down, which is already very weak. And just, it's a small boost of XP, which could give them a level 4 advantage.
Yeah, definitely. Although it looks like both teams just opting for a pretty standard lane setup right now. They're handling the top 2 lanes. Nobody really getting an edge here. Daihu keeps posturing very aggressively with CTC, which I like, but I don't think they really have the kill pressure here against a Tassadar Monk. It's just not quite enough damage. We are watching that K1 matchup bottom lane. Prismatis is going to come down here and relieve him so he can back refill his health and mana.
Yeah, level 4 hit first here on the side of Vox Nihili. And yeah, just going full wolf status. Again, Chain Lightning being empowered, but we do see the Lost Soul picked up here, so Sylvanas will be able to spam her Shadow Dagger slightly more frequently.
Vox Nihili doing a very good job of capitalizing on the fact that Tassadar had to take over the bottom lane hold and take a tower for free in the mid lane very quickly with the Sylvanas pressure. So well executed by them, seeing the gap in Crescendo's defenses that their lane matchup made and taking advantage of that for just a small but still meaningful advantage here.
In terms of gem collection, it is in favor of the side of Vox Nihili. They have already turned in 21, and they have about 10 total advantage so far in this game, and that's sizable when you consider how early things are. No deaths. They've just had better success in collecting the gems across the map.
Yeah, the Brawl lane matchup against APM maybe in trouble there, but does have the Radiant Dash out. Like I was saying, the Thrall matchup against Li Ming, Thrall can very easily secure those gems, whereas Li Ming can't really risk running up in melee range of the Thrall, so it makes perfect sense that has secured a small advantage for Vox Nihili. And we'll have to see if they can actually turn that dual gem advantage into a spider turn-in.
And remember, this is a scenario where Li Ming isn't going to be the full sustain style. No dominance, not going for that health return. Ever since they nerfed dominance, it's become a lot less common, but looks like he will be opting for more of a full-on magic missile style in this game. Big damage though, Lex Luthor and Daihu both hit by the orb. The recall beam caster from Glaurung healing up with the leeching plasma the best he can. He still does have a pulse bomb at the ready, but not casting it anytime soon. And the turn-in snuck out here in the bottom.
I don't know how Thrall got that turn-in. Prismatism looked like on the minimap like he ran right past him, but he must have taken the long rotate. Meanwhile, pick on King Caffeine for top. Everything's going right for Vox Nihili. 2 kills here in a huge turn. Blue Webweaver summoned and double kill at the perfect timing. This is the dream scenario. Sylvanas is going to be able to get so much damage here on this wall before the spider even shows up, meaning the spider is going to be free to threaten the fort. Meanwhile, Thrall just crushing this matchup against Monk. So the only spider that's going to get dealt with in timely fashion is this middle spider by Tassadar.
Oh my goodness, K1 Pro getting dove on as well. Daihu picking up yet another kill. That's 3 members picked off here in the top lane. Moments after the web was returned in, the top 4 should end up falling. The other 2 lanes being controlled decently, but APM getting very low versus Zeus.
Yeah, APM definitely playing with fire there. Super low HP, has to use the protective shield on himself, just making sure he can do as much damage to that spider as possible. But that is a catastrophic sequence of events for Crescendo. They lost the entire top fort for that. Now they're losing a bunch mid. The power of Sylvanas here is really coming into full effect. They're getting so much value out of freezing towers and forts. They are getting a lot of pressure here, and it's led to them having a level and a half, I would say, advantage towards the level 10 race, which is huge.
Yeah, they are definitely sitting in a convincing position here over Crescendo, our new NA team that has just been formed. One of the many, but I think the expectations are rather high for Crescendo. Vox coming out strong. They're not too far away from another turn-in either.
Yeah, absolutely. They did a good job collecting all the gems in every lane while that tournament was happening. They only missed one wave middle. And that's one of the things, a lot of the time, you'll see a 5-0 push with the spider. So you'll round up all 5 of your members and push with one spider, and that probably means you get a fort. But the downside is you lose 2 waves of gems while you're doing that. Vox Nihili did not do that. They had the 4-1 split, Thrall collecting bottom. Their team pushed in top very quickly, got those gems, rotated to mid, got those gems. So they're definitely in a commanding position here. They just need to secure their lead for a little longer. Okay, they're 10 now, have heroics. Now we really need to be looking for them to take either a fort with their 10 advantage or secure a turn-in. Either way should be good for them.
So much engaged potential when you think of Mighty Gust, Sundering, Wailing Arrow, King Caffeine stepping forward, but even that is very dicey in front of his own fort. The lockdown from Shadow Dagger, the trait there of Sylvanas, just enabling every little hit to come from these minions, getting that fort insanely low.
Glaurung trying to watch the Thrall rotating, suspecting Thrall to come up, but Thrall never moved out of that bottom lane, so he won't be able to find the 1v1 down in that rotation lane. And Thrall, ooh, a little bit dangerous, but Hosti's going to find Glaurung here, and Glaurung will just blink away a couple times. Let's see, they're forcing another blink charge out. But, I mean, that's a free fort for Vox Nihili. They have now let Crescendo, I'm trying to slow this down so that Crescendo can actually hit this level 10. I was about to say they let them soak, but doing a good job. Finally getting that 11 to 10. So pretty even game now, except for the huge structure disparity.
Yeah, you can just tell the damage the Web Rippers have done, and Vox has actually picked up enough of the gems for another one for themselves. Trying to turn in, they will actually successfully do so here at the top coffer. So although it finally looked like Crescendo finally had some control on the situation, they are now responding to Web Rippers with 2 of their forts already down.
Oh wow, we have no cleanse here from APM on the Monk. Does not feel he needs cleanse against an ETC. That is really surprising. Definitely putting so much faith in King Caff on this Johanna. He expects Caffeine to block every single mosh pit.
They have wave of force too, which is okay, response.
Yeah.
Oh, Sundering comes out hitting absolutely nothing, though. The Wailing on 2 targets, Glaurung, and we see APM getting insanely low, but the heal coming out in the last moment. Topping off there, we do see the Breath of Heaven being pretty effective. This is the bottom fort, the only fort remaining. That's why they have their defense mounted here. But the Web Weavers, both in mid and top, have made it to the keep walls.
Yeah, so despite an all-right Sunder initiation from Zeus, he split up the team, but because he put Monk to one side and Tassadar to the other, whichever support actually got in danger, we saw APM on that Monk, got focused and tried to be killed. He got Wailing Arrowed, totally silenced, but Tassadar was on the other side, didn't get silenced, so he could just shield him, and that means that Vox Nihili just didn't have quite enough damage to actually kill the Monk target, who was their focus after the Sundering went out. So I'd like to see them either force both supports away from their kill target or put both supports together so both can get silenced at the same time. I think that's the only way they're going to be able to find a kill here without a big mosh pit.
OC, well aware of the rotation happening, just slowing Caff down with the Hammerang. We do see Prismat making his way over. They're trying to get their turn in. 103 gems in the pockets of Crescendo at this point in time. APM looking for the channel. Power Slide interrupts that. Some went in from Glaurung, but Daihu going to get a mosh. Wave of Force disrupting that very quickly, but Tracer has to back away. Sundering on 2, but APM retreating with that Radiant Dash, and Caff able to get out. The Power Slide on 3 though, but the heals there are strong from APM.
Yeah, that's a little awkward. Vox Nihili definitely wanted to deny a turn-in here and even get a team fight, but despite having a 5v4, they couldn't get any kills, and it looks like that mosh pit was the result of not realizing Li Ming had Wave of Force, if I had to guess. Okay, APM getting stunned out here, but it'll probably be fine, just Radiant Dash away. Yeah, so now that Wave of Force has been revealed in an actual team fight, I'm sure Daihu will take that into account and always make sure that K1 Pro gets hit by that mosh pit, because that would have been a devastating mosh pit if not for the fact that K1 was slightly out of range and got that Wave of Force.
A good response from him, but we'll see if it works in the future scenarios. 13 advantage right now on the side of Vox. But the Web Weavers are doing a little bit of push, at least cleaning up the waves decently here for Crescendo. They need to get some structural damage if they want to hit that level 13, though, as they have a full level to climb. They're more than a level and a half down currently.
Yeah, and I would just expect to see Vox Nihili kind of stabilize here. Crescendo got that turn in, it pushed out their waves and evened out the map control. Got a couple towers, but not a ton. So unless Crescendo managed to get another turn in,
oh, the wailing going in. Glaurung gets decimated in that situation, and now APM has to Radiant Dash to safety. Prismat using D-Shift once. Can he get the Force Wall? That's money. No, Lex Luthor sticking on that target. I believe he still has the totem. No, but the Palm has been cast. That's APM using his ultimate. It was heroic, but Chassidar will go down regardless.
I really don't like that Palm there. Tastar's gonna go down even if you get the Palm off. So it's really unfortunate use of the cooldown, although it is only 50 seconds. Still, this is a really good situation for Vox Nihili. Crescendo overstepped just a little bit. They knew that they weren't getting enough off that turn in, so they wanted to try and force something to happen. Glaurung playing super aggressive, occupying that fog vent, but as soon as he got spotted, ETC immediately slid on him, and he was out of range for saving. So really good call by Vox Nihili to turn immediately onto the Tracer, who can be a frustrating target to focus sometimes because she just recalls out. But because he got stunned by the ETC, follow up with the immediate Wailing Arrow. Really good play by Sylve. Strong decision making there and focus fire calling.
Okay, good hammering. Glaurung has to recall almost immediately. The Blessed Shield cast with just the orb connecting barely from K1 Pro. Many of these gems were attempted to be turned in, but they're having none of it. Vox continuing to contest just with the Chain Lightning alone from Thrall, proving to be very annoying.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons Thrall is so good on channeled turn-in map objectives. It's just so frustrating, man, to get those chain lightnings bouncing between your teammates, getting the ridiculous interrupts from huge range.
Oh,
meanwhile,
wow.
Crescendo out pretty far on the map. Cap's in trouble here.
Yeah, Zeus is going to be able to get a turn in the backside. Palm going off from King Caffeine, but he does not get triggered, and he will end up dying soon after if he's not careful. The Chain Lightning bring him down to just 30 HP, and the Sundering, the tip of it, eliminating King Caffeine's life. APM trying to get out of here. Looks like they will be able to retreat, but not before losing the turn-in to the side of Vox Nihili, and of course, the death of their tank.
Yeah, absolutely. King Caffeine overstepping a little bit there. Didn't want to give up a turn-in, because they would have had 16 to 14, which is just a crippling level to have the Web Weavers spawning from the enemy team, but it looks like that's happening anyway. And they have a 5v4 to help. And just eradicating APM there. No chance for him to survive that combo.
This is not even close at this point. Sylvanas with Web Weavers a 16 advantage over level 14 Crescendo. This top keep will collapse. Two very healthy Web Weavers sitting in the other lanes as well. And 10 seconds before APM is back alive on the Karazim. Commanding position here for Vox Nihili.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the way they've played this game so far. They haven't even had a mosh pit yet that worked out for them, and they're still way ahead, which is not something that you see very often for ETC lineups that don't have a ton of chains done. Just really good target calling. They saw that King Caffeine was out of position, capitalized on it, even waited out the palm. Very, very well played. So now Crescendo has to find a way to claw the game back into the game. Realistically, Vox Nihili is so far ahead. It's their game to lose. They're going to take the boss here with the 16 to 14. The problem with this boss, though, is they're going to give up a spider turn in for it, most likely. And if they do that, they're probably not going to be able to go core with this boss, so it's not even going to really do anything. I'm not sure what Vox Nihili is planning right now.
Yeah, Glau getting some big damage onto Hosty, who just tapped the well. Daihu power sliding back. 42 gems did end up getting turned in from Prismat. So that is a small victory, but you mentioned the boss, and it has been scooped up here by Vox Nihili. They will be escorting it into the top. The boss turned in not successful, and right now the defense has to be mounted. 16 still pretty far away, too.
Crescendo not getting that turn in is actually huge. They might actually lose the game here.
Oh my goodness. The palm will be good this time for King Caffeine, popping the Iron Skin a little bit too late, gonna get that afterwards. And the boss still sitting pretty in terms of his hit points. Level 16, not going to be able to be farmed the way they want if they're defending their core. Power slide in. The mosh pit is successful. The Sundering to confirm, but the recall getting out at the last move. No, just kidding. Glaurung gets dumpstered. Regardless, King Caffeine sitting in the back. The Ancestral on Goat. The core shield's about to fall. Zeus, Lex Luthor, Daihu, the whole team focusing on the core. And game number one is going to go to Vox Nihili.
Fox Nihili absolutely win this game. Wow. Very well played. They played so greedy, Jake. They went for the boss with 3 people and had 2 people denying turn-ins on the rest of the map, but Crescendo was playing too safe and didn't mobilize properly to punish either of those greedy solo defenses for the turn-in. They both survive. Crescendo doesn't get the turn-in, and then Taihu goes for a solo mosh on Tracer, which is insane, first off, because
Right.
why would you go for a solo mosh on Tracer, right? But he gets cleansed so the Wave of Force doesn't interrupt his mosh pit, and then Tracer gets knocked out by the Sundering, but then recalls back into the mosh pit and dies. That was like a mind-blowing team fight. I can't believe that just happened. I mean, I thought he would have had to hold the mosh pit for at least 2 targets for them to win the game there, but the fact that it went on the Tracer and they used so many resources to try and interrupt it, and then the Tracer ended up dying anyway, that's really what sealed the deal for them. Plus, they didn't get enough damage on the boss in trade for wasting the Divine Palm, or using the Divine Palm, I'm sorry. You know, right when Johanna got caught out, King Caffeine gets hit by that power slide, didn't get the Iron Skin up in time, knocked into the boss stun. Really good work by APM to get that Divine Palm off, but the rest of Crescendo wasn't doing damage to the boss early enough to make use of that and actually prevent their core from going down. So Vox Nihili played that really well. It looked like they had the better draft for the map. They used Sylvanas excellently. I'm really happy with how they played that.
Color me impressed, regardless. I mean, a lot of these guys have been around for a while. Seeing that they beat Astral Authority, I was already like, whoa, this is going to be a good qualification match. But I truthfully did not expect them to win game 1 in such a convincing fashion. So
Yeah.
we're in for a ride, boys. We'll see how Crescendo can turn things around. They're going to be deciding their map moments from now and getting the lobby set up. Actually, there is already a lobby that exists. Oh, just kidding. It has been destroyed. We'll figure it out very soon. But if you were, I mean, knowing K1 Pro and King Caffeine very well, at least, what would you say they would want to go for the next map?
Well, that's an interesting question. I think they didn't expect Tracer Tassadar to get dealt with so easily. It really looked like Vox Nihili had that composition pegged. They got the ETC, which is well known to be one of the better tanks against Tracer, all things considered, and Crescendo willingly picked Tracer into that ETC composition,
Yeah.
which can work out, but it ended up costing Crescendo the game for sure. Glaurung got picked pretty easily every time he was on that flank. ETC just slid, put too much damage on her. So I really like how Vox Nihili handled that. If I'm Crescendo, if I'm on that team right now, I'm expecting them to try and lock down the Tassadar Greymane instead of going for the Task Tracer again. And Caffeine is going to make absolute certain that he's not on Johanna. He's going to play an Anubarak or a Muradin, something that he's really comfortable with, so he can feel like he can make the plays and kill the backline on his own, instead of the Johanna where he feels like he's relying on his team and putting Glaurung in the position where Glaurung feels like he has to make the play for them to win the game. I think the Crescendo lineup is at its best when everyone can dive together in a coordinated fashion to cause the most havoc and kill targets in the enemy team. Whereas this sort of lineup, where Glaurung is kind of the solo diver, I don't think that plays to Crescendo's strengths.
Well, you'll find it very soon. The lobby has been made. The map is going to be Cursed Hollow here, friends. And it looks like we have all of Crescendo. Just waiting on Vox to hop on in, and then we'll get into our hero draft. Man. The other news is, apparently, Faye busted out Nova on the other side of the bracket. And I cannot wait to watch that VOD. Dread and KO casting with Faye playing Nova. Craigasm, boys.
Yeah, and the Nova won. I wish I knew what map it was on and what the matchups were. That seems insane. Nova is not a hero that I would have considered, really viable right now. I just didn't think she brought to the table what it takes to win the game. So, good on them for being willing to use those out-of-the-box strategies. We haven't seen Nova in Heroes in a long time in competitive, so that's cool. I'm excited to see how that turned out.
We saw Cloud9 try to do a cheeky strat today, and they picked like all the worst heroes they could imagine, like Lili and Nazebo, and Nova was one of those troll heroes. And then Faye's like, Nova's a real hero. I'm gonna show you. And she did. So chat also asking, is Dunk Train a caster now? He is. He is. And they're also asking if Dunk Train can do a Brexit accent.
I'm really bad at accents.
I want to hear it. Give me your best British accent.
I don't even know how I would do
Pretend
that.
you're bakery.
I physically don't know how to do that, Jake. I actually
He doesn't know how to do those palms, boys. That's what he just said. He can't do those palms.
Wow. Rude. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've never been able to do accents. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. How do you speak differently, Jake? Just speak normal. Gosh.
If I can think of bakery saying like a specific phrase, there's like some things that bakery says a lot. I have to talk to him first, but after talking to him,
Yeah.
I will do the bakery voice for days.
If you have a specific like voice clip, you can emulate that for sure. But it's really difficult to just off the top of your head. I don't know, for me at least, do like a British accent. I think that's something you have to like rehearse, right? You want to be like a stand-up comedian that does impressions or something. You rehearse it,
Like-
get it down to a specific delivery and cadence and everything like that. I have no clue how to do it just off the cuff.
I've got a bakery quote.
Yeah.
I love bananas, even though that was probably the worst voice ever. That's a bakery quote for you, boys. Bakery, every time we see him at a live event, a LAN, the guy's walking around eating bananas. And I think I've told this story before on Town Hall, but there was this one event. It was during BlizzCon last year. We were all staying in Burbank, California for an extended period of time for opening week. And people kept seeing Bakery walking down the street eating a banana, in an elevator eating a banana. But then one night we're all sitting outside by like the fire pit, and we look up in the window of the hotel, just one of the random rooms, and Bakery's just sitting there in the window looking at all of us eating a banana. It was the funniest thing, possibly for some of the downtime in the Heroes events, just because of the build up into that banana moment. Anyways, Cursed Hollow Draft, Illidan Band. Here we go, game number 2.
All right, here we go. So Vox Nihili has first pick here, choosing to go with that Illidan ban. Makes total sense. Now Crescendo has the opportunity to ban Kael'thas if they want. Oh, they're thinking about the Greymane ban. That's definitely interesting. Feeling like Greymane is particularly good on Cursed Hollow, which I do agree with. One of his weaknesses in the early game, he doesn't have the greatest wave clear. It just doesn't mean much here. And he's so good at bosses. I absolutely love this ban on Greymane if they do intend to go with that. That does mean Vox Nihili will be able to first pick Kael'thas if they want it, though. We'll see if they go with that standard pick.
Yeah, time will tell. They're very... Well, we see Greymane gone, so what's Vox Nihili gonna do? Kael'thas seems likely, but Falstad also very powerful on a map this big, Falstad being hovered.
Falstad, Tass, switching between those. I'm surprised it doesn't even look like they're considering Kael'thas here. That is really surprising to me. So
Yeah.
they do first pick the Falstad, leaving Kael'thas up for Crescendo to take if they want. Is there some secret I don't know about Kael'thas? Not very good here. Oh, Crescendo. Crescendo doesn't know the secret, I guess. Vox Nihili's first they beat the Tracer Tassadar last game. Now they're here to prove that they can beat the Kael'thas too with that Falstad first pick. Let's see what ends up happening.
All right, Kael'thas ETC picked up pretty quickly.
Yeah, Crescendo hesitated for a second on the Kael'thas lock-in. Like, is there a reason they didn't pick this? And then just decided to lock it in. And as soon as they did, it makes perfect sense that they lock in the ETC. Kael'thas ETC is one of those combinations that we saw again and again be absolutely enormous in the Summer Championship. Seemed like every time those two heroes were together, and even earlier today when Crescendo had both, the ETC power slide just sets up huge gravity lapses for Kael'thas, and then that damage comes out, and it's so difficult to deal with. We'll have to see, can Vox Nihili handle this? Because right now, Tass Falstad, this look all right, but how are you going to answer this Kael'thas question is what the problem of this draft is.
It's going to be a struggle. And, you know, they grabbed the Tassadar early here. They want to just have a neutral pick. Maybe they'll go for double global with Brightwing a bit later in the draft. I'm not too sure. But like you mentioned, the stuns. I mean, they're almost forced into picking another support that actually has cleanse. Because right now, they have Tassadar. Oftentimes, you run Tassadar with Brightwing. So maybe Brightwing Brightwing, you can't really afford to grab Cleanse because you're right in a current build,
Yeah.
it's all about the phase shield. So they
Yeah.
actually will end up locking in that Rhaegar, and that'll secure the Cleanse.
Yeah, it's definitely reasonable. Tas Rhaegar has been an insanely good combo for a long time in Heroes. Widely regarded as one of the best, two healer pairs as far as that is concerned. But the problem here that I see is Sonya's not in the game. Sonya's banned for this event, so how is Vox Nihili going to get the front line that does the damage that they need? Because Sonya was that hero that you always saw paired with that Rhaegar Tassadar that made it look absolutely unbeatable. Or Illidan was paired with that Rhaegar Tassadar that made it look unbeatable. Both of those are not options here. How are they going to get a front line to capitalize on the amount of healing they have?
It's going to be a struggle. It really is. They're banning on Zeratul, respecting the threat that Glaurung presents. Glaurung, a lot of his favorite heroes have been denied at this point in time. Greyman, Illidan, Zeratul, Sonya, globally banned from the event due to a bug existing with her auto attacks and the interactions that exist with her abilities. So, Crescendo, it's going to be interesting to see how they handle this, because although it's not like Glau has a small hero pool, he definitely has a small list of preferred heroes.
Yeah, I would agree. Of note, Tracer is available, but Vox Nihili has the Tassadar, so I wouldn't expect Crescendo to pick it because they haven't shown that they're willing to pick that without the Tassadar on the Tracer's team.
What if... do you think it could work with Medivh? Or do you think that's a little bit too all in?
I don't know. It seems questionable. I mean, Medivh, I think, is good. I mean, to be honest, I expected to see him get played today in the qualifier. Especially following Crescendo, I expected them to maybe play some Medivh. It seems like the kind of hero that K1 and Prismaticism would really enjoy playing.
Really? Okay.
Just,
I can see Prismat,
guess
but
that.
K1 actually surprises me.
Maybe. Maybe not.
Well, you know him a lot better than I do.
That's true. But the Muradin lock in here, that is fascinating. What is Crescendo planning? So they've got a big front line for Kael'thas, which I like. But the Rhaegar is gone, which I think is the best healer for this, dual big front line. The Ancestral is just so good in that situation. Gonna take the Sylve here, end up with solo healer.
Is this
Don't
Glau's Muradin?
Yeah, that looks like what it would be. I have to
So they're
imagine.
not willing to do the Tracer without Tassadar. They're not willing to bust at the Medivh in this situation. And since the melee warrior pool, like we were talking about, is largely banned out, Glau's Muradin. So
I kind of like this for Crescendo because now Vox Nihili, what tank are they going to pick? Nubrak is gone. Enemy team has ETC Muradin. Sonya's not in the game. What does Vox Nihili play for their front line? This is a really tough place to be.
I mean, Johanna is so suboptimal at this point. That's probably the safest option, though. Honestly, like, are you gonna run a solo Arthas? Are you gonna run a solo Diablo? Stitches?
And you can't even really play Stitches
On Cursed Hollow? Not really.
Yeah, you don't really have the burst to kill off Stitches hooks, and they have 2 tanks to eat the hooks. It seems like Crescendo, despite the ETC Muradin being really off meta, it seems to have put a big damper in Vox Nihili's potential compositions in this draft.
Now look at this. They've got double support with the lone front line of Johanna. They've shown they can play Thrall, but this isn't necessarily the best map for Thrall. Vala being hovered right now. They've been playing a lot. No, excuse me. I was thinking of matches earlier with Raynor. So Vala does get locked in. It feels like a suboptimal draft for Vox Nihili.
I think Fall is an all-right pick there to salvage the draft what they can. She does a good job. Of the heroes remaining, she's one of the best at shutting down tanks. The only better might be Tychus, but he's so high risk, especially against ETC Muradin. I do like the Vala pick as far as things are going once you're already at this point, but being maneuvered into forced to pick Johanna on Cursed Hollow just seems like a huge problem for Vox Nihili. They really wanted that Muradin pick that Crescendo took from them.
Yeah, well, We're going to see if this pays off for Crescendo, locking in those warriors, doing a bit of a warrior lock after we saw the melee assassin lock happen as well. So interesting drafts for sure here going into game 2, where Vox Nihili is actually currently up 1-0. Looks like one member just went to utilize the human resources of Earth, and they'll be back in a moment.
I do like the draft to punish the Rhaegar Tassadar pick. You've denied the best melees that go along with it, plus you deny the best tanks with it. So I really do like that decision that was made by Crescendo. Vox Nihili, the Johanna Vala response just feels like the draft went sideways there. It looked really good. Falstad, Rhaegar, Tassadar, those heroes look so good. Your power meter's full, and then like Johanna Vala, womp womp.
Yeah, well, definitely going to be a hard composition to kill, though. With Johanna double support, we'll see what Vox can do here on Cursed Hollow. We are loading on in Crescendo. Again, making their debut with this new roster. A lot of people are saying this team is going to be unbeatable. They're going to be the new gods of NA, but they've already shown they are mortal.
Yeah, that's less than ideal, too. I'm sure if you're Crescendo, you're coming into this game expecting to just crush out the qualifiers, and to lose to Vox Nihili even in the last round is definitely going to put some brakes on their hype train, but as is, can't doubt them yet. Gotta root for my boys. King Calf on that ETC, K1 Pro on Kael'thas, APM on Monk, Prismaticism on that Sylvanas, and Glowering rounding it out on that Muradin.
On the opposing side here with Vox Nihili, Hosty's going to be on the Falstad. Lex Uther going to be playing the Rhaegar, Johanna in the mid lane, played by Daihu, and then Tassadar and Vala with Zeus and Goat. Would you say Goat is the greatest of all time?
If he wins this set, I'll give him that.
All right, Goat. The stakes are high, but you can do it, man. Glaurung immediately getting in the face here of the bottom tower, utilizing the power there of Sylvanas to shut off the structures and apply some good pressure, but look at the damage they took.
Yeah. Despite having Sylvanas, they took an enormous amount of damage there. I mean, most of it will be healed off because it went on ETC and Muradin, both of which are tanks that, heal themselves up over time. But still, took a lot of damage there, meaning they couldn't actually finish off the tower like they had wanted. Vala, Tassadar already in position to defend that. Luckily for Vox Nihili, didn't suffer any serious casualties there. And a 2-1-2 from Vox Nihili, which is a lane setup that we have not seen very much on Cursed Hollow. Most of the times teams go for the 1-1-3 or the 1-on-1 plus 2 roamers. So the 2-1-2 I actually really like here, because Vox Nihili doesn't have a great roam squad. They have that Johanna, they don't have good initiation on their ganks, so they run the 2-1-2 with a support in either far lane, making both of those lanes much safer.
All right, ETC getting the power slide in from King Caffeine, but the Stormbolt not quite getting the value they wanted, and the pretty even trades in terms of damage. So a good attempt there from Crescendo, but not quite able to get Hosty.
Yeah, now what I want to see is Vox Nihili should immediately pressure this top lane while they know the rotation squad is on the bottom. But it looks like Sylvanas has done pretty significant damage to Goat, who's playing Vala, so they won't be able to really get this wave to the tower in time to pressure it. ETC is almost in position to gank them now.
What's the lack of this watchtower in the top lane? It seems...
I
know it's not the most impactful thing in the world, but...
Crescendo just doesn't want to reveal the location of their roam squad, right? So we see King Caffeine is headed to that watchtower now. As soon as he caps it, Vox Nihili will know for absolute certainty that's where their roam squad is. But since both teams are just turning their siege giants right now, makes absolute sense that he'd be willing to pick that up and say, yeah, you're going for your siege giants, we're going for ours. Let's just see where the tribute spawns, and that'll decide how the game goes from here.
Alrighty, well, like you said, giant camps both being picked up here. The first tribute should be around the corner. And pretty darn even passive game here in the early stages of Cursed Hollow. Just a few bit of blows being traded. Structurally, I would say Crescendo has done the most damage just in that top lane from their early push. Beyond that, it's been pretty standard.
Very late tribute spawn timing here, not coming in until the 3-minute mark.
Yeah,
max time for sure. On the top side of the map, which is a huge advantage for Vox Nihili. Hosty is not only Falstad, so he'll be able to fly up, but there's Siege Giants on the opposite side of the map, so Crescendo at a big disadvantage here. Gonna see what they can do while they have this 5v4, though.
I watched Johanna in the back taking a lot of damage. She has popped both the Iron Skin and her Condemned to try to pull everyone in. That's pretty much her cooldowns for the moment. Falstad getting the mega value in the bottom, bullying APM, who has no mana and very little health, forcing those Giants to get the max DPS output that they can. Daihu able to control the space. And King Caffeine is way too far forward.
Wow, Zeus with such a good shift there to dodge the power slide, and then Daihu immediately capitalizes and turns on the ETC. Very well played by Vox Nihili. I mean, they managed to win that tribute in the 4v4, which is good, but also got huge value on that bottom side. The Siege Giants doing immense damage, killing the wall of the well and half the fort's health. Vox Nihili is off to an excellent start here.
Yeah, I think that's safe to say because, I mean, it doesn't look like they have a huge experience lead, but when you look across the map, they've nearly taken out that bottom fort in a scenario where, yeah, sure, they got the lucky spawn, but they got so much more out of their actual Giants. They're not the ones that have Sylvanas on their side, and they picked up the tribute. So, oh my goodness, Zeus even just making sure to stall that Prismat, knowing that he's probably around the corner. So low in health, does have to hearth back. Those little small things do add up.
Absolutely, Jake, absolutely. And if you look at these compositions, if you're Vox Nihili, you're really happy with this early game because Crescendo has a much better early game team composition than you. ETC, Muradin, Kael'thas, that's 3 stuns that can be chained together and absolutely destroy anyone they find in a lane on a gank. But because of Vox Nihili's 2-1-2 setup, they couldn't find a successful gank. They lost out on the RNG of the Siege Giant spawn. Vox Nihili has executed the 4v4 perfectly. That is just the dream situation for them. If they can stay even, it's looking really good for them because this is the safe tribute. They'll have the opportunity to get a curse right when they hit level 10.
Like Suther's already channeling the tribute. Can King Caffeine get in there in time? No, we can't. Double tribute here already for Vox Nihili, and Crescendo is backing away the top lane. Sylvanas was taking a ton of damage from Tastadar, not able to get the push that he wants. Falstad immediately flying to bottom for that soak with a fort that's already down. Vox Nihili will get 10 first at this rate with a 2-man tribute, and especially because of that first late tribute spawn dunk. They're on course to have 10 before the 3rd tribute spawns.
Hosty needs to dodge this gank. Looks like he is doing a good job backing up immediately when the wave is clear. I like that. They will scout out King Caffeine on that watchtower. So Vox Nihili knows King Caffeine is invading. Rhaegar backs off of those Siege Giant. One is dead, but the other one is still alive, so Caff will be able to snipe those out. Looks like Vox Nihili might end up having a fight on their hands here, and both teams so close to 10. This could go either way.
All right, Zeus slowly but surely losing the battle up here in the top. Prismat able to get the wall down in full and force him away. Will he be hearthing? It looks like it at this rate. Goat and Hosty just waiting for that Giant. They didn't want to go in there until Johanna grabbed the watchtower. Once Johanna confirms the coast is clear, they pick it up, and here is the 3rd tribute. But level 10 was reached on both sides. Crescendo in position first.
Yeah, I really like that decision by Vox Nihili to just wait for Johanna. There's no rush on capping that. Tribute hadn't even spawned yet, but now it has. Again, this positioning, difficult to assault for Vox Nihili. I wouldn't be upset to see them give it up. I hope they don't give up too many deaths here, though.
Okay, Falstad just now flying down. Hosty does have that gust available if they decide they need to disengage it full, but they are A-okay for the time being. With just the Phoenix used in that fight, 1 minute cooldown at the disposal.
Yeah, basically traded Phoenix for Cleanse there. The Cleanse had to go down as soon as the Kael'thas stun landed, which was well timed by Rhaegar, but Johanna able to walk away, Phoenix down as well. Both 60-second cooldowns, no big deal there. Now, 3 tributes have spawned. The spawn situation has reset, so now the next tribute can spawn in any location on the map, except the one that just happened. So Vox Nihili is slightly favored on potential next spawns.
All things considered, though, they haven't managed to finish off this bottom fort, which has been quite vulnerable ever since the first tribute fight. Still standing. Top lane, Sylvanas just got herself some Giants. If she's not responded to, she's going to be able to get a bit of momentum in that lane. She's already taken out the top wall, so that fort could become contested. And like you mentioned, that tribute Could go anywhere except for that one location that we just left moments ago. But it looks like it's going to be in the top left side, a bit in favor of Crescendo in this case.
Yeah, Crescendo's really happy with that spawn. They didn't want to give up a curse at this point to Vox Nihili, so they're happy that that is on their side. Vox Nihili trying to break into the small choke, though. Dahu's not there. This is risky for Zeus.
Zeus took a lot of damage. Gravilep's not quite connecting there on the left side, but Glaurung going to town. The chain heal does come out. Ancestral is going to be able to get on there as well, and the wailing in the backside is just a bit too late. But all things considered, that is a long cooldown. The Ancestral Heal and the Mighty Gust both being used, trading up for Avatar and a Wailing Arrow.
Yeah, I think that definitely favors Crescendo, because Crescendo is much less reliant on heroics to kill targets. They have the 3cc chain.
The power slide on two. That's going to be huge damage. Tassadar goes down very early, but King Caffeine taking a lot from the strafe. Is going to town, but the chain bomb not quite enough. Prismat has to go back, but he's able to tap the well, looking for that Shadow Dagger just to keep the presence here in the lane, but huge numbers going off on Prismat, who got very low there.
Yeah, the strafe just not putting enough damage to cut through those two tanks and the monk healing, and we saw just how powerful that monk healing was. He hit the 5-man circle of healing, and it's just Breath of Heaven is so much healing when you're hitting all 5 targets with it. It's so efficient. Rhaegar just couldn't keep up. I would have liked to see Rain of Vengeance actually from Vala, so they could focus fire one target or 2 targets instead of that strafe, which I feel like is just going to get mitigated every time by the enormous AoE healing potential of Monk.
It's almost like when you see strafe used successfully, it's paired with a lot of other area of effective abilities. They don't really have that, and Tassadar gets picked off here from a great rotation into the top lane from Crescendo. Now it's tied up 2-2 in terms of the tributes in this game. About 20 seconds before Tassadar is back in action. Gonna be tough for this tribute to be denied from Crescendo.
Yeah, that task pick is actually heartbreaking for Vox Nihili. It's exactly what Crescendo is looking for with their composition. Find picks with your chain CC, and Tassadar dying there means that they're going to give up a curse. How is Vox Nihili going to mitigate this curse, really, is the question. If Crescendo gets, say, a level and a half lead and can secure a boss or two with the 16 advantage, that's going to be really hard for Vox Nihili to come back from.
Glaurung and King Caffeine, no respect, just forcing Johanna away. They're saying, you're not even going to soak this lane while we evaporate it. Go away. And they successfully bullied Johanna back. They're now made their way back behind the mid towers, where they are casually whacking away at things like schoolboys in the yard.
Yeah, and there'll be no retaliation from these buildings, seeing as they are cursed. You saw Murden going really far forward to get the Thunder Clap onto the wave to kill it, since they do die to one hit of anything. Now, Crescendo did clear that bottom fort. They're happy about that. The wall was still up, so it was a hefty amount of experience. They've secured pretty much one full level lead off of that. The question is, will that be enough? Can Vox Nihili get their curse before Crescendo hits 16? I think is the big question here. I don't think they'll be able to get it in time, meaning for the next tribute fight, it'll be a 16 to 15.
Hosty did get caught by the power slide and jukes both the gravity laps and the storm bolt, so he's actually quite lucky there. Bit of a misplay on the side of Crescendo, not quite able to capitalize on a moment.
Yeah, Hosty got those fast feet, jukes for days. That's a good one to put on the highlight reel. Feels good, man, when you dodge all those stuns like that, even casually avoiding a boss route. But Kyra and Calf are not done yet. They're looking for more picks.
Power slide goes forward, getting past that forest wall. Zeus is a little bit hurt, but they do have all those heroics more or less ready. Mighty Gust 25 seconds away, the only one notable right now.
Sea Giants on top lane, gonna finish off that fort in just a moment. There we go. Okay, Crescendo is pretty happy with the game state now. They're about to have 16 advantage. They can trade probably the next tribute for both bosses if they play it right on the rotations, because Vox Nihili can't really contest at the 14-16 or 15-16 deficit. We do see Crescendo starting their own boss here. I really like this. Monk is an excellent healer for doing boss. He'll just heal so much over the course of that boss fight. Meanwhile, Glaurung making sure Vox Nihili can't start their boss for free. Calf also zoning out the Tassadar. so you can't even scout the boss appropriately. Falstad gets no fly-in, and now Vox Nihili is under immense pressure.
All right, Hosty flew up looking for Glau too, so his fly has been
Yeah.
spent, and that's also far from ideal because they have to respond to the boss, and they just lost their global presence.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gonna be basically impossible for them to contest this boss now. So what Crescendo did that was really good here is securing the bosses for themselves is fine. Getting the boss on bottom lane is good. It's not going to do too much damage because the enemy team is defending it. But by taking those bosses off the map, when your opponent has 2 tributes, it basically really hampers their potential win conditions, because now getting the tribute that gets them to 3 and causes the curse is no longer an option to get boss once they get that curse for Vox Nihili. So I think if I was Crescendo here, you might even want to give up this curse just to push with the boss in the top lane. Instead, they're heading down to the bottom side. Sylvanas is going to take that fort, and basically getting a fort and a tribute off of that.
Yeah, this is definitely a tough scenario for them. Full level lead, the final fort going down. The tribute picked up here. Going from being down in tributes 0-2 to now getting 4 in a row. Crescendo sitting pretty. Level 16 has been picked up on the side of Vox Nihili, which means they're ready to fight. They're ready for action, but they just need to get a bit more of a handle on the lanes and the mercenary camps that have been picked up.
Yeah, we see Crescendo playing really safe right now. They've just got the Siege Giants and letting them do work. Not willing to take a fight here. And it seems like Crescendo's just going to wait for the next tribute. Probably capture their own mercenaries, since there's no real downside to doing that. All their lanes are pushed out. And just get the free pressure so that the next tribute is the most advantageous for them possible.
Okay, the map has been painted blue. All the mercenary camps except for one under the control of Crescendo at this point in time. And here is that tribute. Now, if this manages to get picked up on the side of Vox Nihili, they're going to be sitting in a solid position, right? It'll allow them to maybe take down some of the forts, catch up in experience, close that 1-level gap, and, you know, be back in action. But if not, it's slowly going to start to get scary for them.
Absolutely. Waiting to see how Crescendo handles funneling through this choke point. Cap on the flank. Falstad will scout that out. This cap point does get easier to invade as the far side team later in the game than it is early, but it's still a tough order, and you see Glaurung just getting huge chunk there when he looks to threaten that choke point, and Lex Luthor can keep threatening the curse with that channel.
Yeah, Glaurung trying to put a lot of pressure on in the back, popping Avatar on top of Ghost here right now, and the Gravity Lab's going in before Daihu can get on that Iron Skin. Huge damage. Bless Shield hit absolutely nothing, and Johanna goes down. Glaurung still pursuing, but has the Dwarf toss back for safety as Goat is tickling everyone with his strafe. Lex Luthor seeing if he can trade with the Avatar-infused Muradin, but not going to be successful in doing so. And wow, Falstad just gets evaporated.
Very well played by Crescendo. Vox Nihili did not really anticipate.
Oh, they're going for it.
Yeah, this should be game. Crescendo is definitely going to end here. They can just walk Muradin onto the core, and he won't take enough damage for him to die. And they don't have anyone respawning for over 20 seconds except Johanna, who won't put enough damage onto this Crescendo team composition to actually kill them. So yeah, that's game. All it takes is one good team fight loss in the late game. Crescendo played that well. Glaurung on the flank turned out to be a much better solution for breaking that stranglehold over the choke than Caffeine was, because fundamentally Muradin, with the give him the axe build, threatened that Falstad on his own. You saw it required Tassadar and Rhaegar to both pay attention to Falstad, with only Glaurung's Muradin damage going onto Falstad. That opened up a big weakness in the front where the choke was, allowing Johanna basically to get swarmed, killed, and then from there it was pretty simple for Crescendo to clean up.
I love the draft there. I mean, like you just mentioned, the Glaurung on the Muradin, it not only was it a great denial for warriors on the opposing side, but Glaurung looked insanely comfortable on the Muradin. He played very well, and just the pressure he was able to put on the backside was great. The control he had on the boss when that boss trade was happening, denying them the safety of picking up the boss, basically guaranteeing a really strong mid game for Crescendo. Just picture perfect, really. So GG's
Yeah.
game number 2, bringing us to a game 3, was a victory for
Excellent.
Crescendo.
I'm super happy to see a game 3 here. I'm really impressed with Box Nihili. Crescendo, though, definitely showed that they had Cursed Hollow down to a T there. I mean, their rotations were really excellent on that map. Their early game roam squad kind of got stuffed by the enemy team's smart 2-1-2, but then they recovered with an excellent mid game, and then the Curse plus Sylvanas utilizing that to great effect, getting those forts down, and then the double boss for free was just masterful. ETC and Muradin being utilized to zone very well. Really happy to see that go down. Super, super calculated, well played by Crescendo there.
It was a great game, and I'm just glad we get a game number 3. This has been actually quite an eventful day for Heroes of the Storm at post-roster apocalypse. And in the round 1 of this tournament, we actually went to game 3, and here we are in the qualification match, also going to game 3 on the stream. I heard over on Dreadnought's stream, not only did they have the Nova game, but they had Medivh played today, so it's been quite the eventful, day of games.
That's really cool. I wish we had seen the Medivh on our stream. I feel like he's so good. Maybe Jake in this game 3, the dream, the Medivh dream.
Yeah, it's so funny too because, like, you know, I think a lot of players look at Medivh and they say this hero is terrible. Actually, quite commonly when I'm streaming, people are like, Medivh needs tons of buffs. But the fact of the matter is Medivh is just a hero that enables big plays and organized play. He's super powerful at the top level when you have that voice communication to enable your team for crazy engages that don't exist with other heroes. And on his own, his kit is solid, but he doesn't. You don't see that impact in the same regard that you would with a Kael'thas that just walks up to someone and gravity lapses them and throws the chain bomb and just giggles at them while they die.
Yeah, definitely. And oh man, Medivh, I think he just enabled so many strategies, Jake.
So many new strategies too. Yeah. So cool.
People just haven't experimented with it yet.
Soon
though.
Soon. TM.
Soon.
Alt 0153 to type TM. You all just learned something new today.
Alt.
You hold Alt and then 0153 on the numpad.
3. Oh, I don't have a numpad on this keyboard. Right?
Get wrecked, you plebeian.
Wow. R.I.P.
I see there's a lobby up. I'm going to wait for Miwa to join it before I hop in because Miwa, our observer here today, the observer for a lot of the Heroes tournaments that you guys watch, whether it be America or Europe, he can't join it. Miwa, you better figure it out, man.
Plus.
He's telling me he can't join.
Uh-oh. That's
maybe
unlucky.
there's something weird. I don't know. We'll see. There he goes. He's in there.
He's in the lobby now.
We
All
get him.
right. Going into this game, let's check out what map we're on. We can see what strategies. Battlefield of Eternity.
So some things for you guys to immediately consider, like just in terms of heroes that become more viable. Greymane's priority very high, super good at racing. Lunara also sees more picks here, especially in the event that if you happen to see an Uther picked up, Lunara is going to be a response for sure if she's not already taken, just because of Nature's Calling, which is getting nerfed in the patch that's hitting Tuesday from 200% down to 150%.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, so, but she's still super, super strong for that PvE damage versus the Immortals. And we got a draft link. Alrighty.
All right. Yeah, like you said, Greymane Lunara, big high points here. I expect Vox Nihili to ban Greymane. I think this might be the map where he is absolutely 100% worth the first pick. He's just so critical in that Immortal race. I don't think you can win the Immortal race against a Greymane. So we'll have to see if Crescendo tries to manipulate the draft to get Greymane, or if they settle for perhaps a Kael'thas first pick. Not as good on this map, but hey, maybe you can't get Greymane.
Yep, I'm just Just making sure they know they can start the draft. We are ready to roll. So the draft here, the final game of the evening. The team that wins here, ladies and gentlemen, will be qualifying for the NA Regional number 1 happening at the ESL Studios in Burbank, California. The first qualifier for the fall season. And that regional is fighting for a spot, one of the 2 spots for North America's teams representing us at BlizzCon. $1 million prize pool at BlizzCon.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot of money.
That is a nice chunk of change. Now, draft is starting here, Crescendo, with that immediate Kael'thas ban. Vox Nihili responds with the task ban, leaving open Greymane.
Yeah, they leave open Greymane. Sure, I mean, Greymane would love to have a Tassadar with him, but instant lock in here. Maybe they were afraid of Illidan? Or I guess they're just respecting the Tassadar presence in general.
Yeah, Vox Nihili, the task ban is interesting. So, if you ban Greymane there and Crescendo first picks Tassadar, I could see that might be rough, but giving up Greymane on this map, Vox Nihili better have a plan. They do snag the Falstad and ETC very quickly. Both good heroes. ETC's got a lot of kill pressure on this map, one of the better tanks against Greymane. Not upset to see him there, but with Kael'thas out of the game, how are they going to find enough damage to kill the target off of the ETC slide, especially in the early game, is what I'm wondering. Who are they going to pick up for damage?
We'll see. Interesting, though, Crescendo going for that Sylvanas. They want to have that lane pressure. Rhaegar, of course, the big heals. Is this the first game where they've actually gotten Rhaegar all day? We've cast like 7 of their games.
I believe that might be the case. We've seen a ton of Monk from them, 1 game of Uther, a lot of Tassadar, but I don't think we've seen any Rhaegar.
Yeah, I think this is their first game, so
from them.
Yeah, I mean, this just enables...
Actually, I think APM did play Rhaegar 1 game.
Okay.
1 Sky Temple game, if I'm not mistaken, he played Rhaegar.
Well,
but still.
Interesting. All right, well, going into the bans, the second ban phase, Murden being hovered right now, they're well aware that Johanna is the last hero Kinkefian wants to be playing. Johanna's not a bad pick on Battlefield by any means, just because of her power of being able to walk up to the Immortal, be annoying, kind of just be a distraction, throw out the blind, and then walk away with Iron Skin. But Zeratul ends up being the ban more targeted towards Glau.
Absolutely target ban for Glaurung. Zeratul is one of those heroes that's really powerful on this map. The Void Prison on the Immortal can totally halt enemy DPS for 5 seconds, which is really critical if you're in a tight race. So definitely a good ban there for Vox Nihili. The Tyrande ban by Crescendo I really like. This is a map where we see Tyrande get valued more highly than pretty much ever other map.
This is the only map where we see her valued nowadays.
Yeah, nowadays.
Well, now that C9 is not running the stun meta, rip C9.
Yeah.
Raise your C9 dongers.
Rip.
But
Tyrande ban I do like, especially with ETC on the other team. That's a really smart ban. Something that's easy to forget when you don't play against it very often. It's easy to let something like that slip through. And that's one of the only ways to actually beat Greymane in an Immortal race. So good decision by them to ban that out. Vox Nihili turns to the Kerosene Thrall.
Yeah,
picks.
They've shown their prowess with Thrall, and if we're talking about races on the Immortal, Thrall has phenomenal damage output. You just throw Wind Fury with focused attack, and he does some heavy damage when he's able to just keep wailing away with that Doom Hammer.
Yeah, he does do good work, you're right. And Kerosene is probably the best support after Rhaegar for damaging the Immortal himself. So they're trying to set something up here. ETC auto attack aura might help, but it's just a question of whether it's going to be enough.
They're doing the double warrior again. Glaurung's Muradin, they're feeling it. King Caffeine going to be on a new rack in the situation. That's a powerful front line. And, you know, we talk about that one boss where Glau was hanging out in Muradin on Cursed Hollow, and he kind of stalled them out. He can have that same impact here on Muradin now that, they haven't nerfed the Dwarf Toss Unstoppable yet.
I do like that decision. The 2 tanks is going to be really difficult for Vox Nihili to chew through. It worked for him last game. Why not this game, right?
Yeah.
Plus, they already have the Greymane, so they're really happy if they can do the 4-1 split on the Immortal, because nobody on Vox Nihili can even come close to matching Greymane's pressure on the Immortal if they're alone. So now Vox Nihili is in a situation where they don't win the 5-man race, probably, although it is close with their team comp, given Crescendo went double tank, but they definitely lose a 4-1 split. So they're pretty much forced to engage onto Crescendo if it ever comes down to an Immortal phase. And it's always great to be the one who's on the defensive in the Immortal phase, since you have so much more control of the battlefield.
I mean, King Caffeine has dampened Magic, and I feel like seeing Li Ming as the final pick, he's probably like, all right, fine, whatever. What do you think about that final slot potentially having been Tychus instead of her? I mean, it's not the best map for Tychus, but it is double tank.
Tychus here. I don't like Li Ming pick, that's for sure. Even though this is one of Li Ming's better maps, because she can volley those abilities over the walls, through the fog, etc. to hit the Immortal, I still... You're absolutely right. I think Anubrak and Muradin is too much frontline for Li Ming to deal with, and she's just going to get dived. So last pick Tychus could have been good. I actually really like Tychus, now that you mention it. He doesn't do too great at killing the Immortal, though, Jake, because his trait, even when active, doesn't apply to the Immortal. Plus, he's low range, so it's hard for him to stay in range to attack the Immortal, but he would have chewed through the tanks, that's for sure.
Dunk, I haven't noticed this after like a 7-hour stream somehow. My voices are in Korean. I don't know why.
Wait, really?
My in-game voices are in Korean.
That's amazing.
Li Ming keeps talking, and it's I'm like, what is she saying? I heard it like the third time. I'm like, that's Korean.
How do you do that? I want to do that. Well, does that make you better at Heroes of the Storm?
Okay,
Jake?
so I changed the voices in Overwatch to Japanese in the BattleNet client. You just go to BattleNet, you go to settings, you go to game settings, and you can change the spoken language. But I must have changed Heroes to Korean in the process. Interesting. Well, Battlefield Eternity, nice. The final game of the day. Here we go.
Battlefield of Eternity. All right. So we do have these teams loading in. This should be an interesting one. If Crescendo gets off to an early lead, they are going to be unstoppable. Between the Sylvanas and the Anubrak, putting pressure on buildings with the Immortal is just going to be devastating. So for Vox Nihili's sake, I hope they don't give up any Immortals. But Daihu is on that ETC. Oh, the observer thing. There we
Hashtag
go. Daihu on that ETC. Hosty on that Falstad. Goat on the Li Ming. Lex Luthor on that Monk. And Zeus on that Thrall.
Their opponents in the red, Crescendo here with APM playing as Rhaegar. He's formerly known as Matra. K1 Per going to be on the gray main Prismat. Sitting on Sylvanas is Glau playing Muradin, and then King Caffeine on the Beetleborg himself. This is all for qualification at the first NA Regionals, everyone. This game will decide it. Stormbolt whiffing there from Glaurung the Impale, just kind of being like a little fence, keeping them zoned to the left. No major damage exchange.
This side is my side. This side is your side. Everyone can be happy. Stay on the opposite side of the Impale. So, let's see a casual 4v4 down here on the bottom side, like we expect. Damping Magic blocking the damage on King Caffeine, no worries there. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Thrall will have an advantage against Muradin, but he shouldn't ever be able to force Muradin out of the lane, because Muradin can just regen if necessary. So, a little bit of trading up here. Shouldn't be a big deal, although if the wave builds up properly, Thrall might be able to secure a rotation timing advantage for the first Immortal phase, which is something to look out for. Meanwhile, 4v4 going nowhere fast.
Yeah, just pretty back and forth right now. Obviously, Prismat wants to get that mega value with Sylvanas, but the 4-man has been contesting quite nicely. That orb doing a lot of damage, forcing out a heal.
Yeah, every time King Caffeine isn't the one to tank an orb with Dampen Magic or with a Beetle, it really does cost a lot for APM to heal it off. At least one chain heal, if not two, so something to keep in mind here. Immortals are spawning, though, and a huge advantage in the clear speed for Crescendo, for Vox Nihili's 4-man, because Crescendo had rotated K1 up to the top lane to deal with that, putting Zeus behind.
All right, well, we do see immediately Crescendo gonna be trying to race this the best they can. It's very even, surprisingly. And it looks like they do have a slight edge. The power of that Worgen form of K1 Pro, but Glaurung on Murden, who is trying to stall out, well, he's gonna throw his life away. So as this trade continues, no Murden on the map. Is the Greymane enough for the trade to go in favor of Crescendo? It's insanely even, and they will barely get it.
Wow, even giving up the Murden, Fox Nihili couldn't make up the 1.5k health difference. They only managed to make up about 1,000 worth of that health. So Crescendo just super happy with how that turned out. Glaurung did a lot of zoning in the first part of that Immortal phase between his attack speed slow and then wasting attacks. So partially why they won, although they wouldn't want to lose the life for it. See how much damage Sylve can do here in tandem with that Immortal.
Yeah, already getting a couple towers. You mentioned just that power of Sylve locking down the structures. They'll get through the wall, and that's probably about it. Getting a bit of chip damage in here. Glau coming from the backside. Throwing the Stormbolt out. Nope, yep, he holded on to it for a little bit too long, and they shouldn't be able to get any kills, but they're going in deep. Burrow charge onto Daihu with the Impale. Do pick him off. Dwarf Toss and Hosty in a bit of a weird spot. Yes, they managed to get the Worgen form with the Stormbolt on there. Double kill with the fort in their sights.
Yeah, definitely a mistake for Fox Nihili to hang around that fort in that condition. Good engage by Caffeine, obviously, and Glaurung. Pretty standard, though, for a Sylvanas. Honestly, a Sylvanas Immortal, even with low shield, does tend to threaten the fort, so it's probably better for Fox Nihili to give up the fort and not suffer the deaths. But either way, about 1 level lead right now for Crescendo.
And that's a quick start, right? That's tough to beat down that quickly here. They're looking at Glau, trying to throw as much as they can at him, but he's going to be able to stay alive. The Kozler Camp not going to get anything done, but the experience from it still going the way of Crescendo. Now looking into the top lane. Burrow Charge going to catch Hosty. The dive going in from the Greymane, and they pick him off with ease, locking down all of these towers. Big rotation coming up from below, but the damage has been done. Level 7 picked up here for Crescendo.
Yeah, and we've seen multiple times today the Anubarak out of a brush with the Burrow Strike catching a Falstad. There's a lot of tanks that can't get in range of Falstad in time to land the chain CC on him. And Anubarak just showing how good of an initiator he is with the knock-up off the Burrow Strike into the Impale that can't be dogged. Has just killed Falstads over and over today. Yeah. So really well played by Caffeine to set that up for his team. Perfect timing on the wall. And have a hefty lead going into this Immortal.
Yeah, certainly is. It's going to be a challenge. Even after destroying the Murden during the first Immortal phase that we mentioned, not able to race with the power of the Greymane. Now they're down a talent tier. That will be eradicated after just about 1 more minion falls. Yes, now getting level 7 here on the opposing side. We do see Glau staying in the front after the Burrow Charge of King Caffeine was forced out. But I like the fact that we do see Fox Nihili on the defense.
Yeah, and one thing about Crescendo's composition is they don't have the greatest poke onto the Immortal. A lot of the times when a team is defending an Immortal, if the enemy team has like a Li Ming or a Thrall or a Zagara, they can still get poke on the Immortal even while you're defending, but that's not really true of Crescendo's composition. They have to win the fight or race to get the Immortal.
He's getting very low here. Took a huge damage jumping away from the Arcane Orb. Did not get connected there and able to stay alive. All things considered, though, they have a strong lead on this Immortal phase, and they're still sitting on that full level lead. Sylve soaking up the bottom lane, tapping the well. Now they're re-engaging.
Fox Nihili had to commit ETC to the top side of the map to deal with the Greymane on the Immortal, which is a huge problem because their team does not have enough front line to stay at Crescendo's Immortal without that ETC on the front, so they end up backing off, and Crescendo advances the Immortal phase with a 1.6k lead.
I like the healing wall choice that we have here for the side of APM. It's been working out nicely. Great utilization after that phase ended. Some scenarios you'd see people going back to base, but actually, you know what? In this case, if they're not going to stick around, I don't know what the point is. They just sent 2 members back to base. Glau, King Caffeine, K1 doing their best to try to defend this. Daihu will be power sliding back, just being a bit of an annoyance. Remember, APM's a bit behind, had to get some mana. And although that healing ward, as I was just talking about, healed them up nicely, he was too low on mana, so that cost them a lot of damage on their Immortal.
Yeah, they gave up their lead for that. Immortals are pretty much at parity now, and Vox Nihili really could have taken even more advantage of that since they had vision of the Rhaegar backing. Now it's their turn to back, and Vox Nihili is back, so Daihu is trying to defend this, outnumbered, but it seems risky, and we end up trading a couple hundred damage, no big deal. Vox Nihili trying to get aggressive on this Immortal now. This is a dangerous position to be. If they get chain stunned by that Murden and Ubrak onto an Immortal stun, that could be lights out, especially with Crescendo so close to level 10.
Okay, tours, boys, as I press the wrong key. Glaurung trading pretty poorly with Zeus right now, who's able to dish out some big damage. And look at the bottom. K1 Pro will be eradicated, and giving a reset there to GOAT. This is likely going to be an Immortal going the way of Vox Nihili after getting that nice pick off on K1 Pro.
Yeah, that's exactly what Vox Nihili is looking for there. Zeus up on the Immortal, distracting Muradin, distracting Nubrak, and Caffeine and Glaurung, you know, both trying to hold the position on the Immortal, and K1 just not on the same page. He's get a little over aggressive on the bottom right flank, went for a kill. It did get denied by the Karazim Protective Shield and W. And then a quick ETC power slide to follow up, and Draymond is lights out. This is not that bad though yet for Crescendo.
Well, they had a level lead before all of that,
Yeah.
but now that's been erased because we see Vox getting level 10 first. Heroics in their disposal behind this Immortal could get dicey. We just got to see Crescendo be rather careful.
Vox Nihili either needs to make something happen before Crescendo hits 10 or back off and accept that they're not going to get any more with this. And it looks like that's what they're going to do. They're like, all right, Ballstead is in the top, he'll split soak. We don't need to force anything else off this Immortal. We got back in the game there. They're totally content with that, and that's excellent.
Sundering used just to defend there. Did Falstad finish off that well? The top note host is going back in right now. Will just throw in that static, just a couple autos, and take that off. Looks like Crescendo is trying to contest this camp. This is a risky play. Sure, Galau and Cap can get away, but really all they ended up doing was, well, no, they're turning around, taking the fight. Avatar being popped early here. Power Slide going through. Glaurung is very low. The Ancestral Heal will be used after he leaves the fight, but they managed to take out the one member. ETC fell in that battle. King Caffeine Burrow is at the ready, so the steal was successful.
Yeah, definitely. Really good discipline by Vox Nihili at first, backing off there, but staying to fight over that camp, especially with Falstad low, ETC low, they just didn't really have a lot of incentive to fight there. You could just give that up to Crescendo, no big deal, but instead they do end up losing ETC. On the other hand, Crescendo has used every single heroic ability, and you're looking at 50 plus seconds before some of them are back. So I'd like to see Vox Nihili take advantage of this and try to force a 5v5 before Ancestral Healing is back, before Wailing Arrow is back, since they still have all the heroics.
Glaurung, it's not long for this world, ends up going down there. Resets for GOAT shouldn't matter too much in this scenario. Falstad in the bottom lane responding to the Mercs, but 15 seconds before Glau is back in action. He'll be there just in time for the Immortal spawn. You should see everybody else trying to top off their mana during this time.
Vox Nihili going for that top fort, it looks like. Oh, maybe not even going for that. They didn't really get anything off of this Murden down timing window, unfortunately. Falstad just split-soaking bottom. Now they're having to retreat from the 4v4, and the Immortals are about to spawn. Only 15 seconds left on that timing window for those heroics of Crescendo.
Yeah, they're all just about ready. Ancestral will be the last one up, but they're more than ready for this fight right now, posturing just to try to get the poke on. They don't have the most poke compared to, at least just the hammerangs and the orbs and arcane missiles on the side of Vox Nihili. But they could try to find someone out of position. Falstad has shown himself in the top lane. You saw Glau and Caffeine try to get in position, but they were scouted out.
Yeah, both tanks doing a good job here, scouting the brushes and getting forward positioning for their teams. Vox Nihili trying to get 13 here, but it's costing them positioning.
Wailing on 3 targets, though. The orb goes in. Avatar popped very early. The Sundering just hitting the Muradin, and the Gust pushing Glaurung back into an odd spot, but the Ancestral from APM is on point. The damage output has been trying to get the kills. The 1 kill goes up on ETC, but Divine Palm keeps Daihu standing in the battle. Zeus is doing so much damage to Glaurung. to the point where he has to retreat, and K1 Pro a bit secluded right now, mounting up and trying to run. Very even trades. Heroics, just about everything except for the mosh pit were used there.
Having the mosh pit available is so huge while Wailing Arrow is down. That's one less interrupter on the enemy team. This could be a big turn for Vox Nihili. They've also almost got that level 13. Looks like Falstad is going to be able to soak that in the top lane. So now they have a talent tier advantage, but they're going against Crescendo on Crescendo's Immortal. So this fight is going to come down to how well does Vox Nihili manage to pull Crescendo off of their Immortal to take this fight.
Okay, the mosh pit that you mentioned, there it goes. It's going to get a very early kill onto Rhaegar. No heals, no cleanse, no nothing. King Caffeine, Burrow charging back, and this is a very bad spot here for Crescendo.
That's exactly what Crescendo needed to not happen. With Glaurung stunned down, all he had to catch was Rhaegar himself and the Anubrak in the mosh pit, and Sylve doesn't have an interrupt. Greymane doesn't have an interrupt in that situation. So really rough for Crescendo there. A little over-aggressive on their positioning, and now Vox Nihili needs to take advantage of this, though. They could still lose the Immortal if Crescendo makes a play for it, but it looks like Crescendo's going to try and get level 13 instead of immediately rushing the Immortal while Vox Nihili heals.
Relentless on Karazim gives them just so much more flexibility. Always going to be able to cast those ready and dashes. We see Illusionist here for the Li Ming. Earth Shield just trying to get a little bit more burst sustained for the team of Crescendo.
So now Vox Nihili is in the situation where they don't have Mosh Pit up for a team fight, and they have to be careful here because Crescendo can definitely win a team fight in this situation. Vox Nihili either needs to wait out this Mosh Pit cooldown or win another fight where they don't use Mosh Pit.
Blau stepping pretty far forward. Will be dwarf tossing back to safety. We did see the Disintegrate was used there. 30 seconds left on the mosh pit as well. They're trying to get Lex Uther. Maybe that's the target they want. No, not able to get comfortable enough to keep poking in. But look at the K1 Pro flanking here on Greymane. This is the 4-1 split that we talked about. If they don't respond to this quickly, Greymane will rapidly burn through that health bar. Trying to catch Crescendo back on up. Avatar has been used. The Immortal of Crescendo is rather low. King Caffeine getting the Ancestral, but Hosty hit by the go for the throat. Divine Palm used at the last moment. Li Ming in the back doing big damage, but it's ETC that ends up falling in the fight first.
Yeah, K1 Pro split the 4-1, forced Vox Nihili to overcommit too soon to the Immortal before they were ready, and it ended up costing them big time here. This is another Immortal for Crescendo, their second one of the game, and we'll go to that top lane where the fort is already down, plus they have Sylvanas. This is looking to be a big turning point for the game, potentially. If Crescendo gets what they want out of this, if they get to keep the advantage to 16, we could definitely see this get out of control for Vox Nihili.
They need the experience for sure, because they have been starting to fall a little bit behind. They went from having a level lead in the earlier stages of the game to now being almost a level down. So this Immortal, although Hosty did get the soak in the bottom lane, should enable them to surpass the experience of Vox Nihili.
Glaurung looking for maybe a jump over the wall there. Nope, decides to walk back around to the front side. Not willing to dive in quite that hard. Crescendo knows that this is an opportunity to win the game if Vox Nihili loses a fight around this Immortal.
All right, Sylvanas already getting that value. The health bars of it have fallen very low, but the ETC with a monstrous mosh pit. Sylvanas goes down, the Sundering on 3. The resets are real. K1 Pro will go down to, actually, Karazim, and now Goat is going ham, but the keep did end up falling. Dunk Train, is that enough for Crescendo?
No. That's, well, it's not game losing because there's no way that Vox Nihili can get across the map and end, but it will allow Vox Nihili to capitalize and take both of these forts and pretty much be even on experience.
Palm used very early. Hosty doesn't end up getting triggered by the Palm, but he's still standing. APM running away in the wolf form, and Falstad does end up falling. Glaurung now dueling. The Feral Lunge doesn't come out. Ancestral has to be used to keep Glau up. Feral Lunge might have been enough to secure the kill there on Lex Uther. Possibly a slight mistake there, but the dive going in from King Caffeine on a Nubarek. The Earth Shield keeping him standing strong. Glaurung doing his best to zone, but super low on mana right now. Prismat has made his way in after respawning, and they are trying to push this fight in their favor. Feral Lunge going in on a strong target. The power slide will connect APM, but the shield comes out at the last moment. Greymane going in. K1 Pro trying to get the go for the throat. The Wailing Arrow on 2, and Crescendo turns that fight in their favor. So many close calls.
Oh my gosh. I don't know what to say about that. NA team fighting, maybe? The overextension by Vox Nihili, just so greedy for those kills. We saw Karazim blow multiple Radiant dashes onto an Anubrak who just baited him with the Hardened Carapace. Murden also got the Ancestral Healing, allowing him to stay in the fight forever, and basically nullified the 2 kills that they got because they waited around so long in the middle of the map that a full health Prismaticism and K1 Pro just came back and cleaned up 2 kills of their own, which is huge because instead of getting an experience swing and having, a half level up in favor of Vox Nihili, maybe a full level up, both those forts down, Mercs on the map, they have none of that. They didn't kill the forts, they didn't kill heroes, they didn't get mercenaries. It's pretty much a disaster for them. So, despite the huge mosh pit play where the cleanse prevented it from getting interrupted by both the Murden stun and the Anubrak burrow, it turned out not actually getting them that much. Although forcing the cleanse there on K1 is actually really good this early in the fight.
Cleanse has been used. Big damage coming out from Go onto Glaurung. The Gus not getting the success that they would hope for. And now there's so many low members on the side of Vox Nihili. Divine Palm will keep ETC standing, but not going to be so lucky as Thrall goes down. Sylvanas fell as well, but Hostie's going to fall. Lex Uther, no Palm for himself, hit by the Burrow Charge. That's lights out. Crescendo could look to end it all here.
Yeah, Crescendo's going to go for the end 100%. They have a huge minion wave on top side with Mercenaries, 2 catapults. There's no way that unless Li Ming has to hit a huge mirror ball here onto K1 and then another one onto APM in order to have any chance to defend, but it's just not going to happen in time. Focusing King Cap, but Cap knows that there's no chance, and the GGs have been called. Greymane unattacked on the opposite side of that core from Li Ming. Wow, what a turn, Jake. That team fight just going so disastrously after the first 2 picks. Vox nearly chasing, overextending, and then immediately walking back into a huge team fight loss. Monk split off and went separate. The rest of the team went down right. Or Monk went down right, the rest of the team went top left. Monk didn't get the big 5-man Circle of Life, Breath of Healing. So it's just turned into a huge rout for Vox Nihili, and they end up getting caught on the disengage. Really nice Anubrak chase. The resets on the burrow strikes are just so impactful, and every time we see it, it's just impressed me every single time how much value Calf gets with Epicenter. Seems like every single team fight he's resetting his burrow charge and getting 2 or 3 kills after the first one.
Scary. It reminds me of the days of level 13 of Rewind. Like, it's just, he's like, oh, burrow charge, and he's going just so much damage and just impact, right? So, well played from both teams. I got to say, Vox and Nihili, they came out today. That was a very good series, a very strong performance, and they're a top 8 NA team confirmed. Like, they will earn their spot in the qualifier. I'd be shocked if they do not.
Yeah, Vox and Nihili actually really impressed me there. I'm really happy. Can we give the credit to Matre, please? What did I miss in that game that Matre did? He's talking about Rhaegar debating
that crazy fight. Yeah,
the crazy chase down. Okay, that's what they're talking about.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
just
so he was
keeping
basically
everyone
their attention
barely
at
alive.
1% HP. Yeah,
I thought he overextended when that power slide hit him when he went forward.
Yeah,
he feral lunged on an almost full health target. I almost thought that was a misclick. It's just like
when you brought up the feral lunge that he didn't cast on Karazim and just Ancestraled, I thought that was a huge mistake. I thought he was going to get punished for it, but he just wolf formed away.
It's just he threw Ancestral, but you can feral lunge and then Ancestral and get the kill and the sustain on Glaurung in the time frame that was allotted. I think he just kind of panicked, but in those it's those small things can win or lose games. But obviously in the end he did clutch out a lot of those moments, baited out a lot of abilities, kept the team standing, and enabled them to get K1 Pro in there with that to go for the throat to get the kills, and ultimately that's what drove them to winning the game. So it worked out in the end. And both of my cats just attacked me. What is happening?
I definitely expect to see Vox Nihili at the first North American Regional if they play at this level. That sort of games coming down to a late game team fight where you lose to what is arguably one of the best teams in North America, that's nothing to be ashamed of. Vox Nihili should be super proud of going this far to the top 4. They'll have good seeding for the qualifier number 2. Definitely expect to see them make it to Burbank for the fall regional number 1.
But congratulations to Crescendo and to high score. I think this is what they're going by right now.
Yep.
So yeah, those are the two teams that have qualified, joining Naventic and Gale Force, who automatically earned their spots, being the top two teams from last season. So there will be two more qualifiers next Sunday and the following Sunday, which will determine our next four teams going to the North America Regional, happening at the ESL Studio in Burbank, California at the beginning of August. So I believe that's August 4th and 5th, I want to say. Something around there. Actually, it's a 3-day event. So
I will tell you in just a moment.
yeah, it's very soon. I actually should have that pulled up as well. But that is going to be
Fall Championship North America, August 5th through 7th, Jake.
5, 6, 7, 3 whole days, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, there was a lot of feedback after the last regional about how Gilly essentially did a cast in the closet while the players did, and we did rehearsal for the rest of the production team. And Blizzard and ESL heard your feedback. They're stepping it up, doing a full formal 3-day broadcast, more content, more coverage of the entire event. Based on that announcement of it being a 3-day event. At least I would imagine the broadcast would be all full 3 days. So I'll confirm that with you guys and let you guys know on Town Hall Heroes. Town Hall Heroes is actually a competitive Heroes of the Storm podcast that Dunk Train and I host together every single Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. And if you don't watch it, you should very much check it out. And you should check out Dunk Train, who streams Dunk. Have at it.
Okay, so you guys can catch me on Twitter at DunkTrain or twitch.tv/DunkTrain. Either way, always happy to see new faces, followers, talking in my Twitch chat, stuff like that. If you have any feedback on the cast, please feel free. Send me a Twitch message or a tweet and just let me know what you thought about how I did today. This was my first time in a while, so always looking to improve, and I hope you guys enjoyed my casting today. Jake, thank you very much for having me on and for handling all the production. I'm glad I didn't have to do that stuff, man. That is always a tough task. So round of applause for you managing all that while casting.
Hey, dude, a monster shout out to you. I think you did a phenomenal job. It's always wonderful to be able to sit with someone with a brain like yours and learn and just absorb your knowledge. And I'm sure the viewers enjoyed it as much. And a big shout out to definitely Miwa, who came in and observed the event today. He's a phenomenal observer. And I have to say, I find commentary to be very difficult to do while observing. I've never been a fan of doing it. And with doing the production is one thing, but when I get to sit in the game and focus on the play-by-play, I have a lot more fun, and I think I perform better as well. So Miwa, thank you. Everyone send definitely Miwa your love on Twitter. He is at definitely Miwa, our main observer here in North America. And actually he observed for DreamHack Summer, so maybe he's the main observer of the world at this point. For me, guys, you can follow me at SolidJakeGG. I'm going to get most of the VODs up onto that channel over the next couple of days. And Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, SolidJakeGG, everywhere. Also, what was I going to say? Oh, I'm not going to upload the first VOD because a lot of you guys gave me some great feedback as to an issue with the production quality. And thank you guys for letting me know in the chat so that we could correct that. I'm glad everything looked great in the evening. Any final thoughts, Lord Dunk?
I'm just excited to see how North America has turned out after the roster apocalypse. I'm really happy. Some of the, amateur scene teams have really showed up. Fox and Nihili really impressing me.
Yeah.
Even the other teams that fell earlier in the bracket, like we saw, who was it, go against Crescendo. More Like Geniuses looked fine. Even Miasma, though, didn't get absolutely rolled. They had some rough times, but I really would like to see more teams crop up with new blood, especially for the Heroes professional scene. And I look forward to seeing those guys make it to regionals for the first time. It's always a really heartwarming experience, I think, for a player to make it from the amateur scene to actually being invited to fly out, stay at a hotel, compete in a LAN. It's a magical experience, and I'm really happy that hopefully more players new to the Heroes of the Storm scene will be able to experience that.
Yeah, man. Like you said, it is really fun to see those people get their new experiences. I don't know if anyone qualified today for their first time for a LAN.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. But regardless, there's 2 more qualifiers, so look forward to those, ladies and gentlemen, because there will be plenty of coverage. So I think that's it for us.
Sounds good.
And we'll see you next time. GG's.
Rolling out.